We are the oldest civilization of the planet, and our Vedas 4000 years back they have preached us Prakriti Rakshati Rakshata. Those who protect nature are protected by nature. Prime Minister of India, he has mentioned that as a country we should basically work in the medical textiles. India as a country, we always prove to the world that we are the best. If a student is economically weaker or something, then we have our own scholarship scheme, Sarthak scholarship scheme, wherein we fund the fund the student, we fund the fee of the student.
Welcome to Women's Social Corner. I'm Janvi and this is WSC Picks. In our today's episode, we'll deep dive in the world of fashion, textiles, handlooms and fashion designers. So let's get the conversation going with Dr. Sameer Sood, the Director of NIFT Gandhinagar. Welcome, sir, to Women's Social Corner.
Thank you.
To start with, as you are heading NIFT, tell us about the easiest and the toughest part of running this institute.
Okay, so running fashion institute is, I do not see any easiest part.
Okay.
Every part is challenging of running a fashion institute because industry is very dynamic in nature. The fashion industry, fashion keeps on changing, the trends keep on changing, so we have to be up to date.
Okay.
And we have to be with the trends, and sometimes we have to be ahead of the industry also. So we have to be very, very basically dynamic in nature. The institute has to be very dynamic in nature. Even our curriculum is also very dynamic in nature. We change our curriculum as per the requirements of the industry and we keep on changing it.
Yeah.
So easiest part, I do not remember anything. Apart from that I've got a very nice driver and he takes me to the office, and otherwise everything is challenging in today's world.
Okay. So we were recently talking about fashion icon and you mentioned about Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah.
If you could, explain more on why you think he is the icon.
Yeah, I would consider our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, as one of the fashion icons, as the most major fashion icons of the planet, because of the reason that he was minimalistic in nature. And you see, he always used khadi as his ensembles.
Garment, yeah.
And khadi is one thing which is sustainable, which is environmental friendly. The clothes are naturally dyed, and all the processes are sustainable in nature. It is hand spun, it is hand woven, so there is no electricity used, and even there is no carbon footprints which are being generated.
Correct.
So Mahatma Gandhi was the true icon of the fashion industry. And even if you see the Dandi, if you have heard about that Dandi movement, so Dandi movement was like a ramp walk. If you consider that. Because everybody was told to be dressed in in certain ensembles. So there was a dress code in Dandi March. And everybody was required to be in kurta and dhotis, and that kurtas and dhotis also to be of khadi. So it was also like a fashion movement in our country. Sustainable fashion movement in the modern world in India, in our country, started from the Mahatma Gandhi.
Correct. That's a very interesting take on how we look at the father of the nation. And another topic is sustainability, which is always spoken about when we talk about fashion. And we always see sustainability from the Western lens. But you say that sustainability was always rooted in Indian culture. Right?
Yes, if we talk about sustainability, the Western world is talking about sustainability around 10-15 years back. You would heard about this sustainability development goals or something. Whereas it is deeply rooted in our civilization. We are the oldest civilization of the planet. And our Vedas 4000 years back, they have preached us Prakriti Rakshati Rakshata. Those who protect nature are protected by nature. So this is how the sustainability is deeply rooted in our civilization, in our ethos, it is in fact in our genes, the concept of sustainability. So sustainability is basically conservation of 5 elements. The entire environment is of 5 elements. Even our human body is of 5 elements. So we need to conserve these 5 elements. These 5 elements are Panch Tattva, Agni, Jal, Vayu, Nabh and Dhara, and again this Panch Tattva concept was laid down in the Vedas. So we need to conserve all these 5 elements to conserve the nature and to give a better future to our future generations.
Correct. So we talk a lot about gender equality today, but when we look at fashion institutes like NIFT, we see that 90% of the students are females. So is there a reverse debate on gender equality that we should have more boys, and many times boys are restricted not to follow this line of career?
Yeah, this is one of the issues which as a society, as a nation, we are talking about, that in an institute like NIFT, we have around 90% of the students as girl students. But as an institute, we do not have any such policy that we will only encourage girls. Nowadays, we rather encourage boys to come in and join this course. And also there is a set notion in the society which needs to be, as a society, as a country, as an ecosystem, we need to address this problem. That fashion is not only design. Fashion is design also, management also, and technology also. So we can think that design is a domain which is women-centric, but again, management and technology can always be managed by boys as equal as girls.
Correct.
And if you see the top fashion designers of the country, they are in fact they are men.
Yeah. But do you see that there is also a taboo, in the sense parents don't want their male child to pursue this line of career? Have you came across such incidents?
Yeah, as a society, you see, whenever we would like to do career counseling of our kids, we will always say that boys should go to IITs, or boys should become advocates, boys should become doctors. But we never, in our society, we never say that boys should also be becoming fashion designers. Yeah. And then whenever a boy would go to his father or mother that I would like to be a fashion designer, they will say, why aap tailor kyun banna chahte ho? So this is like a pre-notion, whereas the fashion industry is one of the promising industry of the entire world, and it is coming up very well.
Correct. And so in the institute, 90% of students are female, and then we look at this whole picture at a macro level, and we see that in India or in the world, the top designers are always male. Like in India, it's Sabyasachi or Manish Malhotra. Do you think that women are lagging behind somewhere when it comes to entrepreneurship, and that's why they are not in the top 3 or top level of designers?
But I would like to differ on this thing. Women are also on the top of the entire fashion ecosystem, and the entire fashion industry is basically managed by women only. The designers like Sabyasachi and JJ Balaya, right? They are men, but there are other examples also. There are other examples like Ritu Beri. There are other examples like Anju Modi and like Payal Jain. So there are other examples also.
So you don't think that it is?
No, I don't think so.
Correct. Yeah. So when it comes to NIFT, how are we trying to be different, or how are we preparing them for, fashion is a dynamic industry, there are a lot of changes happening in the future also. How are we preparing them for that?
So NIFT, we have a very different type of pedagogy. We are very different from other fashion institutes. So if you see the top ranking institutes in our country in fashion design domain, out of 10, 9 would be NIFT campuses only. So we are very different from others. We have a process-based approach. We have a very dynamic type of curriculum. We are always ahead of the industry. What industry requires, what is the expectations from the industry. So we would always try to incorporate that thing in our curriculum.
Correct.
So this is how we basically teach our students. This is how we basically make our students industry ready. So right from the day one to day end, we always would like to be industry ready, and we would always give them certain learnings which are very pragmatic in nature. And majority of our course curriculum is process based.
Okay. And on these lines, you recently spoke about this futuristic textiles or fabrics. If you could elaborate on that, what are the fabrics we will see?
The futuristic textiles, if you talk about, they are photochromatic fabrics which changes colors. So right now, if you are sitting in shade, then your shirt would look like red. You go outside, it will look like white. So it is also one of the problems to address the sustainability problem.
Okay.
Because if you will have a shirt which changes colors with sunlight or without sunlight, then you will have two colors.
Yeah.
You will buy less. Your wardrobe would be lesser weighted. So it is also a problem for sustainability. And 3D fabrics are there. Okay. So 3D fabrics, they are knitted fabrics. They changes the shape as per the shape of the body. So these are some of the futuristic textiles, and then technical textiles. So technical textiles are non-aesthetic in nature. So all the textiles which are non-aesthetic in nature, those are technical textiles. So in technical textiles, we have medical textiles.
Okay.
So even in the recently Bharat Text, Prime Minister of India, he has mentioned that as a country we should basically work in the medical textiles.
Medical textiles.
So medical textiles is one area. Medical textiles is basically what doctors wear. Whenever you have an operation, what doctors wear, what patients wear. So whatever you make your patients wear, it is basically disposable in nature. You will wear it only once, and then you will. There's a huge demand.
Okay.
And this right now is being controlled by Europe and Japan.
Oh, interesting.
So to make India Atmanirbhar Bharat, we should also, as a country, we should also make our medical textiles sector more stronger.
Correct.
And recently I was in Mumbai for a sustainable textiles conference, and there are companies which are basically doing this thing. So there is a company in Delhi, Lintex. So they are already doing this sustainable medical clothing, and it is also a step towards making India Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Okay.
And India as a country, we always prove to the world that we are the best. This is how I believe in my country, my Bharat. And recently in the COVID case, you would see we were the biggest supplier of the COVID kits. And that was also a part of the medical textiles.
Correct.
The COVID kit which the doctors and the patients they wore, that was a part of it was one of the segments of the medical textiles.
Okay.
Then in technical textiles, we have geotextiles. Then we have PackTech. So there are a lot of categories in technical textiles, and India right now is at the 5th number in terms of technical textiles. And we are all poised to become number 2 and number 3 or maybe number 1 in the coming years in the technical textiles. So that is the future of the textile industry. Right. Textile industry is not only garments. Textile industry is not only fashion. It is also non-aesthetical textiles also.
Yeah.
Even the airfields in the airports, they are also textiles.
Yeah. You should look at the bigger picture.
If you look at the bigger picture, the airfields, they are also textiles.
Okay. And so we spoke about sustainable textiles also, and when we think about sustainability, the first fabric comes in our mind is like cotton. But you said that cotton is not the most sustainable one. If you could elaborate on that.
You see, cotton, there are concerns about cotton. People say that cotton takes a lot of water from the water table, and that is true.
Okay.
And if cotton is basically a crop which is a water intensified crop, which takes a lot of water. So cotton is basically environmental friendly, but it takes a lot of water from the water table, so it is not water sustainable crop. So as an alternative, organic cotton, we are working on the organic cotton concept. Kasturi cotton is one of the initiatives of Government of India, which has a blockchain technology also. And then there are new age fibers.
Okay.
New age fibers are bamboo fiber, banana fiber, then we have
jute.
Then we have jute. Yeah. So these are the fibers which are totally environmental friendly and which are totally sustainable in nature.
Okay.
As a country, we are number 1 in jute. As a country, we are number 1 in banana. And we are number 2 in bamboo fibers.
Okay.
So this is how, as a country, as a society, as an ecosystem, we are working towards a sustainable future for the textile industry.
Okay. Gujarat and even India has a lot of handicrafts. There are a lot of handlooms. If there is any handicraft or any form of those fabrics that you really like, you want to talk about.
Yes, I would like to talk. I am basically a handlooms and handicrafts lover, and also a true advocate of handlooms and handicrafts, because I see handlooms and handicrafts as the only solution for the sustainable development of our country. And very proudly, I would like to say that India as a country, our country, Bharat, basically 95% of the hand-woven fabrics across the world, they are from India. So that means, that implies, that proves that as a country, we have still preserved our handloom sector. And the rest of the countries in the world, they have so far not managed to preserve their handloom and handicraft sector. And this is also one of the solutions that people do not migrate from villages to cities. Right now, we are in a comfortable situation as a country. 69% of the population, they are in villages, and rest 31%, they are in towns, they are in cities. But as a country, we should not let the village people come to the cities. There are some employment opportunities, there are good opportunities within the villages, because people are more happy. People are more contented in villages.
Yeah.
If you go to any village, even a person would be earning 5,000 rupees per month, be very happy. Same person goes to a city earning 50,000 rupees a month, he becomes unhappy, he becomes tensed, he becomes erratic. So only problem, one of the solution that people stay in villages is handlooms, handicrafts and khadi sector.
Yeah. That's why we should promote.
Yeah. And also this sector employs more women.
Yeah.
61% of the handloom workers of the country, they are women.
Correct.
And likewise is khadi. So it is also one step in women empowerment. So you were talking about some of the handlooms and handicrafts. So ajrak is one thing. Ajrak is basically, I'm not so sure if are you aware about the history of ajrak?
Yeah.
So it has history of 4,000 years back. This craft has come from the west province of Pakistan, right now in Pakistan. So it was very well there in the Harappan Indus Valley civilization. Then there was Khatri family. So part of the Khatri family, they came to Gujarat, and part of the Khatri family, they went to Madhya Pradesh. So Madhya Pradesh, the same family is doing bark printing, same block printing, and this family is doing ajrak printing.
Interesting story of the ajrak. So when we talk about fashion and clothing is sometimes also taken as a form of status symbol. I was watching an interview of Devdutt Patnaik, and he said that people buy high-end fashion because they want to buy auqat, in the sense like if I'm wearing a certain brand, it means I have a certain status. What is your thought on fashion used as a symbol, a status symbol?
Yeah, fashion, basically, in economics, there is a term demonstration effect. Demonstration effects means if you have a Mercedes, I would also like to buy a Mercedes.
Correct.
If you are wearing Versace, then I will also go to a Versace store to buy something. So we should not be in a demonstration effect as far as this fashion industry is concerned. Wear whatever is comfortable to you. Wear handlooms, handicrafts, and people look very better and very, very good and very fashionable if they wear handlooms and handicrafts.
Yeah.
And we should not be basically wearing man-made fibers. I'm against the concept of this MMF, because man-made fibers, they are not sustainable, and they are fast fashion. Then another question obviously would come: fast fashion.
Totally.
Whether as a ecosystem, whether as a country.
Where Gen Z are going?
The Gen Zs, they are going towards fast fashion. Lesser than a pizza price, one would like to buy a T-shirt. Why? Obviously for social media purposes. They would like to have a photograph clicked on one ensemble, and the next day they would like to change that. So it is very well against the concepts of sustainability. So we should go back to the minimalistic thing. We should have something which is timeless in nature. Fashion is timeless. We should not be timing the fashion. Yes, trends are there, forecasting is there, but let us be versatile in nature. Let us be timeless. Let us wear something which is timeless, which you can wear again and again.
Which we don't have currently.
Which currently the society, which currently we look after each other, na?
Yeah.
So we always, again, that demonstration effect, that person is wearing this thing, so I should also
wear it.
But even if a person is doing a demonstration, if influenced by demonstration effect, then also sustainability concept should be taken care of. And you should wear bamboo fibers, you should wear banana fiber, you should wear something made of jute, something of organic cotton, like that.
Like that, true. And when we talk about sustainability, you brought a very interesting point on how our gods should also wear, sustainable clothing, and you emphasize on that fact. If you could elaborate.
Yes, you see, if you go to our any of the temples in our country, not in our country, maybe any part of the world, we say as a society, as an ecosystem, we say that we should wear sustainable clothing. We should wear something which is made of natural dyes, and which is the material is also sustainable. But right now we are making our gods wear unsustainable clothing, which is not right. Which I do not agree on this thing. You go to majority of the temples, you will see our gods, they will wear polyester clothing, or they will wear something made up of man-made fibers. So which is actually not right. And we should basically change the clothing of entire temples in our deities, the idols, of sustainable clothing. Recently in Ramlala, Ayodhya, the decision has been taken, and this decision is very much welcomed by everybody in the industry. So they have changed the clothing of Ramlala in Ayodhya from man-made fibers to cotton, and again naturally dyed and naturally printed and indigo dyed. So if you see the pictures, recent pictures, our Ramlala in Ayodhya temple wearing cotton, organic cotton with natural dyes.
Correct. So there was a time when it comes to Fashion Institute, only the people of the rich or the elite would come and study in Fashion Institute, because it comes with a certain cost also once you start education. How do you see it changing, or how do you see the dynamics changing?
This trend has already changed.
Okay.
With NIFT into the picture, this trend has already changed.
Okay.
Because we support all type of students. If you take a round of any of the NIFT campuses across the country, you will find students from all sections of the society, only because of the reason that we support every section of the society. If a student is not economically weaker or something, then we have our own scholarship scheme, Sartak scholarship scheme, wherein we fund we fund the fee of the student. And there are other schemes of Government of India also. There are schemes from Scheduled Caste Ministry. There are schemes from National Backward Commission, and so this is how this trend is changing.
Trend is changing.
It is already changed.
You have been in the leadership segment for like over 2 decades. If you could share some tips on how you think that people can become good leaders, or what are the things they should take care of if they want to, head institutes.
So to be a good leader, I would say that we should be a good listener first. Listen to the other person. We have to be empathetic, and we need to basically listen to other person, what other person is saying. And nowadays what is happening, people are very erratic in nature. Before listening to others, we normally react. So that normally we should avoid.
Correct. There's so many people who aspire to, study fashion or follow this line of career, but they have certain misconception about this field. If you want to bust some myths on, that please, take care of this, or this is not this.
This misconception was there around 20 years back. Then it was cleared around 10 years back. It is still there. People think, and people have that perception that if they would join a fashion institute, they would only become tailors. So this is how our elder generation they think about this fashion industry. Whereas fashion industry is not only tailoring. It is basically design, management, technology. So it is all together. You can become a fashion illustrator. You can become a fashion influencer. Then you can become a fashion merchandiser. You can work in some export company. You can work in the buying sector. Then you can be an accessories designer. You can be a fashion and lifestyle designer. So you can be into fashion communication field. Then you can be into technology. So it is basically a very diverse field. And we should basically come out of this notion of becoming our kids becoming tailors if they are coming to a fashion institute. No, that is not right. It is one of the promising careers in our country, not in our country, across the world. It is one of the promising careers, and I would say that it is at par with other industries, or maybe ahead of other promising industries.
Correct. And so when we look at fashion, we are always influenced by the Western fashion, or the kind of clothes they wear, whether they suit the Indian body type or not. But our fashion is mostly inspired from them, or the kind of clothing they wear. How do you look at this?
Yeah, that is very right. Right now, but this trend, it should change. Right now, what we are very much influenced by the Western culture only because of the reason that we were colonized. And if you see the sizing structure. So sizing structure, we are following European and American sizes as far as our clothing is concerned. What you are wearing, it would be either American or European size. Yeah. But as NIFT, as an institute and Ministry of Textiles, we are coming up with India size. Oh. India size means we will have our own sizing system. So that is one of the baby steps in making India a Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat. Because then India can become a wish guru, and then our sizes would also be followed by the persons of other countries also. And if you see the history behind this, again I will go to the Vedas. Around 4,000 years back in our Vedas, we were the first society, we were the first civilization that defined the 3 body structures. Vat, Pit, Kaph. Vat, Pit, Kaph are 3 type of body structures, and later on Western world they rephrased this thing into 3 different type of body structures like petite, mama and missy. So, yes. So they defined that there are 3 type of body structures. There is one body structure is petite, one is missy, one is mama, and whereas 4,000 back in Atharveda we have already told this to the entire world that the body structures are 3 types: Vat, Pit and Kaph. So this is how we started this movement. But somehow in due to colonization or something, we were not able to do that. But with this India size coming, I am very sure that entire world would follow our sizes. Like RuPay card is acceptable at 73 countries right now. So our sizes would be followed by other countries, and it is a baby step in making India a wish guru.
Yeah. And so right now, there's a lot of chatter about technology and how it is influencing different fields, especially the content segment. How do you think it is also influencing the fashion segment?
Yeah, technology is too much influencing the fashion sector. So right now we have this artificial intelligence. So your buying habits, whatever you would like to buy, your thinking habits, everything is with some third party. Everything is with either with Google or some app developer or something. So this is how technology is changing. And this information is now very dynamic in nature. It is going back to the retailers, it is going back to the manufacturers, and then they are changing their production patterns. Then they are changing their methods of designing also based on the needs and demands of the consumers. So because moment you click on something, then somewhere this data reaches to the manufacturer, somewhere this data reaches to the designer. And this is how this technology is playing a very important role. Even in the manufacturing, technology is playing a very, very important role. In manufacturing sector, we are going towards industry 4.0. So industry 4.0, obviously the entire industry would be going towards industry 4.0. So textile industry, clothing industry, garment industry, we would also be going to industry 4.0, wherein a lot of automation would come into the picture, and lot of new technologies of garment making, lot of new technologies in apparel manufacturing, they are already in place. So we are talking about garments which are seamless. Okay. So right now, what garments we wear, majority of the garment, they are not seamless. We make a seam. But in the future, the seamless technology is also one of the technologies which would take the fashion forward. Correct.
So Indian government has done a lot for textiles, handicraft. What's the best initiative led by them? If you could recollect any of.
Yeah, India government recently they have introduced its PM Mitra scheme. PM Mitra is basically a setting up of industrial parks across the country, and I think 7 of such industrial parks are coming up in the entire country. Then there's a PLI scheme, production linked incentive, that you produce more and then they will give you more incentives for this thing. So this is how, as a government, the government of India is also promoting the textiles and clothing industry, and they are also promoting, the government is also promoting in terms of skill development also. There is a scheme of Ministry of Textiles, Samaj scheme, which takes care about providing skilled manpower to the new entrepreneurs. Okay. So assuming if you are an entrepreneur, you are a new entrepreneur coming from some part of the world, so you would be very much interested to know that if I would like to set up a 200 machines factory here, whether there are skilled workers or not. So to address that problem, Samaj scheme is there. It is governed by Ministry of Textiles, Government of India.
So on the lighter side, who is your favorite fashion designer and why?
My favorite is Sabyasachi.
Okay.
Because again, he is very versatile in nature, and if you see his thought process, if you see he's inspired by sustainability concept. Yeah.
And also, I mean, the Indianness of his clothes.
Indianness of his clothes.
Correct. Yeah. Sir, you have seen fashion industry of the past, present, and you also see its future. How have you observed this industry change over the years?
So the past industry, it was not fast fashion. It was basically, in the past, if you go 20 years, 50 years back the line, it was basically garments were very versatile in nature. Garments were very timeless garments. People, if you talk about a man would always have a white shirt and a black trouser to wear in the office. But now trend is changing. Fast fashion is taking its own place, and this trend is also very alarming in nature, which we have already talked about.
Sir, one of the last questions: how do you see men's fashion? Have you seen it evolve a lot? Like, are men becoming more experimental?
Yes, men are also becoming very much experimental, and if you talk about men, a lot of new trends are coming, and men are also following all those trends. So men are wearing more jewelry nowadays. You see, I am also wearing something on my hands or something. It was not the case around 15-20 years back. Okay. So men are also very much fashionable. Our Prime Minister, if you take his example, he is also one of the fashion icons of the present world. Like Mahatma Gandhi was the first fashion icon of the modern India. Our Prime Minister Modi ji, he is also one of the fashion icons.
Correct. Yeah. So thank you so much for your insights and your time. Any of the concluding remarks if you would want to?
So any concluding remarks, I will again come to the concept of sustainability, prakriti, rakshati, rakshata. Those who protect nature are protected by nature. So let us be fashionable, let us be trendy, but let us also be sustainable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. For more such conversations and interactions, keep watching Women's Social Corner. Thank you.